chapter 10, we are talking about teamwork, and teamwork, as you know, has advantages and disadvantages. We'll see. Yeah, this actually lesson about key contributors of effectiveness. So group are considered and teams are key contributors of an organizational effectiveness. And we're going to look at different teams, different types of teams. We're going to look at group dynamics. So they're influencing the functioning of teams. Group dynamics means, you know, the internal movement or relations between members of the team. That's called group dynamics. Group decision making, how can we improve it? That's some insight on that. And we're going to look at how managers create high-performing teams. Can we put it? Can we make better teams? Yeah, that's the outcome normally from that course. We start with distinguishing between group and teams, right? So groups are defined as two or more people who interact with each other to accomplish a goal. But team is more specific. It's a group, yeah, that works intensively with each other to achieve a specific common goal. So in other words, a team is a group, but not all groups are teams, right? So in the work environment, normally we're talking about teams. For example, you can be part of a social group, right? With very loose goals, like maybe just being together, a social group, like enjoying being together. It's a goal, right? So you attend or you participate or you are a member of that group because it gives you some rewards. That's your goal, to get this reward, social interaction, for example. All right. Okay. Teams are different in a way because they are more difficult to form, and it takes time for members to learn to work together. That's a very important aspect of teamwork. So we must be patient sometimes to allow the group to get together and becomes efficient. So I think this is a key element of success, right? Teams can improve organizational performance. I insist on the word can because it's not automatic, right? It's not automatic. So some team will fail because they are not efficient, so some reason. As you mentioned, for example, conflicts may arise, so the conflicts can be very serious, and in that case, the group will not be performing at all, right? So when we consider this, I would like again to ask you another input. The first input is you can think about a good experience you had in a team and why it worked. All right, so this is interesting to reflect on your own experience, because we are all experiencing teamwork at some point. Okay, so again, the question is, can you tell us about a good team experience, a good experience you had with the team, and try maybe to give us an insight as the reason why that team was a good experience for you. All right? So we're going to do this, a few minutes. have some comments in writing. A good experience I've had is learning how to work with people who have different personalities and approaches. Often it is good to learn how to see things from a different perspective. I believe this will improve management skills. So yeah, so it's good experience. I understand what you're saying. For you, it's a good experience when you can share different perspectives. Okay, great. Work upload on time because team members are reliable and do their work. It's a good experience in this way. Yeah, when you achieve when the team has achieved its goal and then the work is done, I think you have some satisfaction. You feel some satisfied about, yeah, about the work, right? Yeah. Okay, so any other one comment or in verbally or in writing here? All right. Okay, so let's continue then. I would like you to continue participating. Yeah, some other comments coming up. We are a team of 4 members and how to work is less capacity, more best work I learn. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to thank you for all your inputs and let's continue here. So yeah, we have some good experiences with teamwork and sometimes not so good. So the question we can ask ourselves is, what is the difference between a good experience and bad experience, and what are the causes for this happening? Let's have a look at some concept here. First one is to look at trying to explain why groups and teams are key contributors of organizational effectiveness. So we have some kind of, I would say, in light blue here, criteria that helped to understand how a team is efficient. So, so it is efficient because group work, teamwork enhance the performance considering a person individually. So that allows the organization to gain a competitive advantage. Remember that in our strategic mindset, the idea a company can be only competitive if it has a competitive advantage over its competitor in the marketplace. According to that view, then teamwork will help to accomplish that goal, right? The goal again being to gain a competitive advantage. So teamwork will do that because it enhances the performance of the whole organization. It can increase the responsiveness to customer. In other words, we can being more efficient in satisfying customer needs. And teamwork will increase innovation because the interaction between individuals will foster creativity, therefore increase innovation because everybody build on others people inputs, right? And also increase motivation and satisfaction because, well, you can be motivated because you want to contribute positively to the teamwork, and also it will create satisfaction because team also fulfill our needs for social interaction, for example. So these are all good reasons for working in teams. So teams are definitely key contributors to an organization effectiveness. Now, here's our details about the differences between groups and teams. Okay, so groups are 2 or more people same as team, but the difference with team is that there is an intense, regular, and frequent interaction when groups can be interacting only loosely, and the team has specific visions and purpose, while the purpose for group can be quite also blurred or unclear. So that's the major differences between groups and teams. So a team can enhance performance, especially because of 4 reasons, but I will suggest that the first one is probably more important. It's called synergy. And synergy means that basically that the sum is bigger than the addition of the parts, right? So in other words, I would say synergy means that 1 + 1 = 3, right? So in other words, you have some benefits from the interaction between the members of the team that cannot be accomplished when the peoples are working alone, right? So that's the major element of team. The reason we have team. I would like to say that nowadays it's even more important than it used to be, because maybe if we go back 400 years ago, for example, most of people that contribute to our society, for example, think about Leonardo da Vinci, Galileo, and Newton, and even Darwin. They are mostly working alone, right? They were individuals that were able to master the field and make major contribution. If you think about advancement in science and technology nowadays, you won't, or very rarely, you will see one individual alone contributing to the advancements of science. For example, I would like to show you an example here that I took from Wikipedia just in a moment. I was thinking I should show you some example of recent accomplishment that required a lot of people, big teams. So this one is, as you may know, it's the Human Genome Project. And the Human Genome Project was an international scientific research project with the goal of determining the base pairs that make up human DNA, right? So you're probably aware of that project, and it was in the, well, it took a long time from the idea was picked up in 1984 by the US government, and the project was launched in 1990 and was declared complete in 2003. So that's a long time, right? So huge project, daunting task, and I was trying to find out how many people work on it. I couldn't really find it in the last 10 minutes because I didn't have time to make a big search. I just had this idea a few moments ago, but you can have an idea of how many people were working on it. That's, well, because we have here the list of institutions, companies, and laboratories that was working on that project. So you see a lot of organization here. So there is a list of 20 organizations, and then probably you know, many people in each of those. So that's a lot of people were working on that project for sure. Well, because it really cost billions of dollars to accomplish this, right? So this is I think an idea that this all will not be possible to do by one person alone, right? So you have to work in teams. to do this kind of thing. So that's so true for many other accomplishment, modern accomplishment, right? So I would go back and share again the our PowerPoint. Here we go. Okay, good. So yeah, that group that was able to decode the human genome actually used synergy, you know, actually the combination of all these expertise together to accomplish that daunting task. Okay, so if we take a look at now, well, there are different groups, of course, formal and cross-functional, cross-cultural groups, and they are top management teams that are significant for us. They are also research and development teams, task forces. Task forces are specific because they are sometimes only temporary, and sometimes they are permanent, but they have a specific, very specific goal, right? So so we can also think about virtual teams, friendship groups, interest group, all different groups and teams. All right, so I would like now you to build a model of an efficient team. Okay, so this is an exercise. I would like you to do that. So actually, this exercise will help you to understand which factor should be present to have an efficient team. Now, these factors already there are identified by your authors of the textbook, and I put it there to, you know, to get started. But you may think about some other factors that you may want to add to this model, right? So I would like you to do two things. So for each of these factors, and maybe some other you want to add, what is the intensity that is required to have an efficient team on a scale from 1 to 10, right? For example, if you think that autonomy should be very important, very intensive, in other words, full total autonomy, 100% autonomy, no intervention from any superior, then you will give it a 10, right? And if you think on the opposite, that an efficient team should be closely monitored, so closely monitored that every decision must be referred to higher authority. Therefore, you will give it an intensity of 1, right? So and so on for these other factors. And also, therefore, give it an importance. So the intensity may be mild, but the importance can be very high. So it's, you know, for example, you think, okay, autonomy should be 5, moderate, but the importance is that of this moderate autonomy is very, very high. So you will give it a percentage here from 0 to 1. So it's a fraction, right? For example, 0.6. Okay, so you think that the efficiency of a team is explained 60% by the autonomy, right? So that will be very high, 6.6, because what it says here, the importance or weight means that efficiency of a team is explained 60% by the autonomy of the team, right? And so on for the other factors. But remember that the total of these weight should be equal to 1, right? So because you want to explain 100% of the efficiency. The variables here explain 100% of the efficiency of a team, right? So I would like you to try that, and we'll be back in a few minutes to maybe take one example of what you guys have found out or determined about the efficiency of a team. Okay. All right. So stop.
Work in a company, we have to train for that. So definitely 10 out of 10.
Another 10?
Yeah.
Okay. Supervision.
It's actually the most integral part. So definitely I'll rate it to 10 again too, because without supervision, it is hard for people to, understand where they are lacking and what they all have to work on. So again, it would be 10 for me.
Okay, okay. On that one, I will say that I have a different opinion. I will explain after. So I will put it in, if you want, in red.
So
That
even if you want to make change,
review. Okay.
definitely it could be 10 if you do not want to make stringent work
No, I mean it's
atmosphere.
okay, but
Okay.
it's your opinion. But I will just want to make sure we review that one. Okay, later.
All right.
Okay, so what about the weight or importance, that will provide an efficient team?
Mm-hmm.
So this is different in that sense. Okay, it will be intense autonomy, but how important it is to have intense autonomy in comparison, because this is in comparison. Now we're going to rank these factors from the most important to the least important by giving them a percentage that explain efficiency. You know what I mean?
I'm just trying to.
So for example, if you give this one, let's say 40%, therefore the rest will be, accordingly, in order that the total will not exceed 1 or should be exactly equal to 1.
Okay.
So that's a type of deciding which one is the most important and by how much, by giving a percentage, you know what I mean, of explanation. So for example, if I say that tax complexity should be equal to 0.3, so it means that tax complexity will be explaining 30% of the efficiency of a team.
All right. So means let's suppose if we have, I'm just giving an example. Let's suppose if out of 100, how much weightage one is actually holding, that would I have to explain, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, if I say, for example, training weights 20%, right? So I will write 0.2, right?
Hmm.
Or 0.2, whatever. And that means that training, a good training, well, intense training, because you said
Mhm.
intense training of the team will explain 20% of its efficiency. You see?
Okay. Then I really would want to make changes in supervision too, so that the next the weightage should not be, over par to rest of the weightages.
Well, but you can give it a low
Okay,
percentage.
all right.
Or
Then we can go for 0.1 maybe.
for supervision,
Yeah,
0.1. So it will be 10%,
right.
right? So yeah, so high
Training.
supervision
Mm.
will explain, well, and supervision will explain 10% of the efficiency of the team. Okay. You want to go back from bottom to top? Training,
Okay, so training definitely 0.3, 30%.
30%.
Team diversity, we can make it 0.4 or almost 40%.
Well, don't forget, you should not go over
100,
100%.
right?
So you already have 80%.
10, 30,
So you have
right?
already
40.
80%.
Then we can make it 30%, that's okay. Or maybe can we go for 25%?
25, yeah.
Okay.
So it means we have 55, 65. So we
60.
have 35 left
Right.
for both.
So in 35, we can go task complexity with 20 and
Okay.
autonomy for 20 and task for 15.
Yeah. Port 15. So this makes 100%. Yeah.
I guess so. I'm very bad at
Hopefully.
mathematics. I'm so
Okay.
sorry. Let me
Okay.
calculate.
You're better than me. So yeah. So that's 40, 60, 90. Yeah. We got 100%. Very good. Thank you. Okay.
Welcome.
So that's how you can build a model. Any kind of model you can think about that, that will be a good way for, trying to analyze the component, what makes, an efficient team efficient, and weighting these factors. So that will be a good exercise to have. If you do this with your team and discuss about this and that and reach consensus, that help a team to work better. By the way, right? Okay, great. So I would like to now, first of all, thank you very much for your contribution. So self-management work teams, that's what they say is that self-management work teams are more efficient. So self-management means less supervision, right? So the supervision supposed to be moderate because that will increase the autonomy of the team and the team will be empowered, and teams that are empowered are more efficient, because that's the idea. It's not always true. Well, because you have some condition. The team must be competent, right? So competency is one thing, but competency is addressed with the training, right? So intense training, well, that's another question that maybe I find it's a bit high, but it's addressed the issue of competency of so the team. So if the teams lack some skills, then of course you will train the team to be efficient. So yeah, so self-managed teams work better if because they are empowered, assuming that they have the competencies. Okay. So group dynamics is another factor that you could have added here. I didn't say it, but this one here, you could have had as another factor, okay? So I will add it here, right here, okay, group size, okay? So that will change this, obviously, you have to change that. But group size could be another factor that you could put in the variables explaining team efficiency, okay? Because there is a ideal group size, so the intensity, will be seen here as the numbers of people in the team, in the group. So maybe moderate, so it says moderate is better, in other words, the smallest as possible for the task at hand, right? So small teams work better than big teams, right? So the smallest number that will do the job is the required, right? But sometimes you need big teams anyway because the project is very complex. Okay. So there are stages in group development that are very important. If you want to have a team to be efficient, you have to look at how the teams evolve, right? Teams are not static; they are dynamic, and there are stages: forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning are the stages of a group development. That's an interesting concept. So that's why we are saying we must be patient, right? Okay, so there are stages of group development. This is the dynamic that is explaining what we just said. And I think that is some interesting concept. Group norms are also important. Group norms, people are sharing rules, right? So we are sharing these rules, we agree with them, and we agree to comply with these rules. So that's also important for the group to be efficient, to have those norms, and complying, the members will agree to comply with these norms, right? For example, in academic paper, no plagiarism is a norm, right? So everybody agree that plagiarism is prohibited, right? So if you have a member that does not comply with that norm, that will create conflict within the group normally, right? Okay, so last thing I would like to talk about before we conclude. There are many other things, but I would like to be brief here. So that's the balancing between conformity and deviance. So there is a theory saying that, you know, a group will work efficiently if the group is conformed to some norms, but not too much, right? Too much conformity is not good, because some people must challenge the, you know, usual thinking, right? And if you don't challenge the usual thinking, you will not innovate, right? So there is a balance between to be conform with the norms and to challenge or deviance from these norms, right? And the common wisdom, because this is how you innovate, right? So here's the idea of this. Low conformity and high deviance is not efficient. Too much deviance and the lack of conformity result in low performance because the group cannot control its members. On the other hand, too much of the other side, high conformity and low deviance is not also efficient, because too much conformity and lack of deviance result in low performance because the group failed to change dysfunctional behavior or norms, right? So there is a balance between conformity and deviance. So you must conform to some extent, but not too much. You can challenge the common wisdom, but not too much, right? So that will be kind of a equilibrium balance between the two. All right. So the determinants and consequences of group cohesiveness. So group must be cohesive. In other words, we must agree on some norm, but these are factors leading to group cohesiveness. So a group will be cohesive. In other words, work as one, depending on the group size, the diversity, identity, healthy competition, and success, previous success. That will create a group cohesiveness. So this is an interesting point you can talk about. So group decision making, we must be careful about not getting into what is called group thinking, where the group is conforming to the common wisdom, and people, because they're conforming, will not express their opinion, and because this is a minority opinion and is unpopular view, and unpopular views will be punished. So we'll try not to get into that group thinking, and allow members to express their full opinion. Okay, so I think we'll conclude with this and ask you I would like to invite you to tell me what you think about what we have seen today. I think we should take a few minutes to ask you what you have learned from this lesson today as a summary, if you want, of the lesson, and what would you change next time you work in a team. That will be our conclusion. Again, I give you a few minutes to wrap up your answers.
Even though in a group, since it requires frequent interaction with your team members or with your group members to produce effective work.
Yes.
So next time I would try to improve in my group by being more active.
Okay.
Yeah, doing more research and then being interactive in my group and working with them productively.
Okay. All right. But what you have learned specifically from the theory, the content, is there anything specific you learned? You just mentioned being more active, but in terms of the model, which element in the model, for example, here that strike you, that should surprise you, or you found maybe something new for you?
Actually, I tried to group my work. I tried to do this exercise, and I put more of my points on intensity on training.
Yeah.
Yes, because I learned that training actually is important in a group.
More training is important in your opinion, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, excellent. Yes, obviously, we take some time for granted that people are competent to accomplish certain tasks, and we don't check it. We just like assume that they should know, right? They should know how to do it, but experience shows that very often there are something missing, right? So we have to, the training will complete their, skill set, as mentioned before. That was an expression Sunita used, and I think it's a good expression to use, the skill set. Yeah. Anybody else want to add to this? I saw comments from Eileen. You want to jump in, Eileen? We should balance each task to each other member depending on the skills and experience. Time management and having equality should also be supported. Oh, that's a very good point. We have not mentioned those things, right? So I think it's really good, Eileen. Thank you for your input here. So good. I will copy it right here in our slide here. So as balance each task. Yeah, that's all. Balance the task. So that makes sure that the members have a fair load, right? Not too much, not too little. So depending on their skills, yes. So balancing each task to make it fair, if you want. And time management also a very good point. So we must make sure that everybody has enough time to accomplish their task. So that's very good. So that's why, for example, a Gantt chart, a project management tool like a Gantt chart will be a very good tool to make sure of this. Okay, great. equality, yes, I guess that's very good. Okay, thank you so much. All right, so we're going to summarize some of the key points we have seen today to complete our meeting. Therefore, okay, we say that, okay, well, there are differences between groups and teams, and groups and teams can contribute to organizational effectiveness. We say can because it's not automatic, because teams are enhancing performance, can increase responsiveness to consumers, increase innovation, can be a source of motivation for their members. So that's how teams are being effective. And we also know that to achieve this goal, we can include cross-functional teams. In other words, diversity is key to good team performance. And also, we can say that group dynamics is important elements of a group performance. And group dynamics means having the proper group size. We can think about group development, group norms, and cohesiveness are important elements of a group success. And we didn't mention, well, we did mention the 5 stages of development. Groups are not static. They are formed, they grow, they go through a storming period, norming period, performing, and adjourning period. So these are the stages of a group development that explain that groups are not static but dynamic. So in terms of group decision making, we must make sure that we try to avoid the perils of group thinking. We have mentioned that, and that is important to allow people to express their opinion, even though they are not the majority opinion of the majority. So playing the devil's advocate is useful, and that's foster creativity and innovation. All right. So that's our conclusion for today. So thank you for joining the class. And now I will ask you if you have questions. We should stop recording, and you can ask me any question you want.